The dark truth behind these banned Super Bowl stadiums. The Super Bowl isn't just a football game, it's America's biggest spectacle. Hundreds of millions watch, cities fight to host, and the NFL? They expect perfection, but not every stadium makes the cut. Some dropped the ball so badly, the league made sure they'd never get a second chance. From cruise ship hotels to frozen fields that swallowed punts, these are the stadiums the NFL has unofficially blacklisted and the reasons why they'll never host a Super Bowl again. First, Hines Field, Pittsburgh Steelers. Hines Field is legendary, home to the Steelers and some of the most intense fans in football, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, the NFL wants no part of it. Why? Because the field is a disaster. Its natural grass turns into a muddy mess by winter. During the infamous 2007 Mud Bowl, a punt literally hit the ground and stuck. No bounce, just splat. Then there's the wind. Thanks to the open end zone facing the Allegheny River, gusts swirl unpredictably, making even routine kicks a nightmare. Hines consistently ranks among the worst for field goal success. Add in freezing February weather, snow, and an unpredictable surface, and you've got everything the NFL doesn't want. Bottom line, the league demands control, comfort, and clean conditions. Hines Field offers the exact opposite, and that's why it'll never host a Super Bowl. If Hines Field got blacklisted for being unpredictable, Arrowhead Stadium got cut for being too intense. And yes, that's a real thing. Second, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City Chiefs. Arrowhead is a fortress. The crowd, deafening. It holds the Guinness World Record for the loudest stadium ever, 142.2 decibels. That's louder than a fighter jet, and for Chiefs fans, it's a point of pride. But for the NFL, it's a logistical nightmare. The Super Bowl isn't just a game, it's a billion-dollar production. Sponsors, celebrities, halftime crews, they all need smooth communication, but Arrowhead's bowl-designed traps sound so aggressively, it turns every game into chaos. Then there's the weather. February in Kansas City means freezing temperatures and possible snowstorms. The NFL already tried one cold weather Super Bowl in New York. It worked, barely. But since then, the league has played it safe, choosing warm weather cities or indoor domes. Even after $375 million in upgrades, Arrowhead still lacks the luxury suites, modern amenities, and corporate polish the Super Bowl demands. It's one of the greatest football stadiums in America. But for the NFL's biggest stage, Arrowhead is just too cold, too loud, and too risky. If Arrowhead is too loud and Hines is too messy, then this next stadium is just unpredictable in the most chaotic, weather-fueled way possible. 3. First Energy Stadium, Cleveland Browns. There's no denying Cleveland has one of the most loyal and passionate fan bases in football. Browns fans show up, rain, snow, win or lose, and usually it's lose. But when it comes to hosting a Super Bowl, First Energy Stadium doesn't just fall short, it gets buried, literally. Sitting right on the shores of Lake Erie, the stadium isn't just exposed, it's a magnet for some of the worst winter storms in the country. We're not talking about a light flurry, we're talking about lake-effect snowstorms that can dump multiple feet of snow in a matter of hours. Whiteout conditions so severe you can't see the yard markers, or the receivers, or the ball. In this stadium, a blizzard doesn't just delay the game, it devours it. And it's not just theory. Back in 2022, a brutal storm dropped over 50 inches of snow across parts of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Highways shut down, airports closed, and even NFL teams had to relocate their games. Now imagine that happening during Super Bowl week, with fans, media, sponsors, halftime performers, and 100 million viewers on standby. Yeah, that's not a risk the NFL is ever gonna take. But the problems don't stop at the weather. The NFL has very specific infrastructure requirements for Super Bowl cities. There has to be a certain number of high-end hotel rooms within an hour's drive of the stadium to accommodate corporate sponsors, teams, media, and VIPs. There must be enough convention space for events, press conferences, fan fests, and sponsor activations. And Cleveland, it struggles on both fronts. It simply doesn't have the hospitality capacity or the polished, upscale infrastructure the league expects for its biggest event. Even the stadium itself lacks the modern, high-tech amenities needed to pull off a seamless Super Bowl, from spotty Wi-Fi to outdated club suites. That's not to knock Cleveland. It's a blue-collar football city through and through. But the Super Bowl isn't blue-collar, it's a polished spectacle built for broadcast perfection, glitzy parties, and corporate checkbooks. And unfortunately, First Energy Stadium just doesn't measure up. If you thought snowstorms and chaos were bad, the next stadium actually got its one shot and never got invited back. 30 Ford Field, Detroit Lions. In 2006, Detroit got what every city dreams of, a chance to host the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 40 kicked off inside Ford Field, with its cozy domed roof keeping fans and players warm from Michigan's frigid February cold. But once you stepped outside the stadium, everything went downhill, fast. First, the city itself wasn't ready. Detroit's economy was struggling. Vacant lots, empty buildings, and crumbling infrastructure weren't exactly what the NFL wanted the world to see during its biggest event. The downtown area lacked the vibrant nightlife and entertainment options that make places like Miami, Vegas, or New Orleans a hit. Visitors expecting glitz and glam instead found, well, quiet streets and not enough bars. Then came the logistics nightmare. Detroit's public transport system couldn't handle the flood of fans. Shuttle services were backed up for miles. Streets were gridlocked. And with limited hotel space near the stadium, many guests were stuck commuting from far outside the city. And if that wasn't enough, Super Bowl 40 wasn't exactly one to remember. Sloppy officiating, a forgettable halftime show, and one of the lowest scoring games in modern Super Bowl history. It was the perfect storm of meh. The NFL hasn't returned since. Not even considered it. Ford Field might be a solid venue on paper, but the surrounding experience just couldn't deliver the full Super Bowl fantasy. And in a league obsessed with perfection, that's all it took. But if Detroit's hosting fell flat, the next stadium turned the whole event into a floating hotel disaster. 5. TIAA Bank Field, Jacksonville Jaguars. Back in 2005, Jacksonville got its big break. Super Bowl 39, the Patriots versus the Eagles. Sunshine, football, and a chance for the city to shine. But instead of headlines about the game, people talked about cruise ships. You see, Jacksonville had a hotel problem. There simply weren't enough rooms to handle the tens of thousands of fans, media, and VIPs pouring in for the big event. The city's solution: dock 5 massive cruise ships along the St. Johns River and use them as floating hotels. Creative? Yes. Disastrous? Also yes. Fans waited for hours just to board. Security lines were a nightmare. Shuttle service was inconsistent. And for those lucky enough to get a room on land, getting to the stadium was just as bad. Weak public transportation made every trip a challenge. And the stadium itself, TIAA Bank Field, then known as Alltel Stadium, lacked the amenities the NFL now demands. Minimal luxury suites, outdated facilities, and very little premium seating. It was one of the smallest markets ever to host a Super Bowl, and it showed. Even the atmosphere fell flat. Unlike Vegas or LA, Jacksonville didn't offer that high-energy, non-stop party vibe that Super Bowl weekend is famous for. The NFL took a risk and immediately regretted it. Since 2005, Jacksonville has never been in serious contention again. The league quietly moved on, and with so many polished cities ready to host, it's safe to say this was a one and done. The Super Bowl is more than a game, it's a global event. And while passion, history, and loyal fans matter, they don't outweigh infrastructure, weather, logistics, and luxury. The NFL needs perfection, and these 5 stadiums, for one reason or another, just couldn't deliver it. Will they ever get another shot? Honestly, not likely. But what do you think? Should any of these cities get a second chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We've got more untold stories from the NFL coming your way.